Hi, this is Congressman Greg Stanton, and I'm here with Noah Freya, who serves on my staff, and we're going to do a quick interview with him as a way to honor him and other veterans in our community on this important Veteran Day. Noah does all of my outreach to the veterans community, and he is an active duty member, a member of the National Guard right now, and is really doing an outstanding job helping our office reach out to the community. So Noah, thanks for being my first guest on this series with other great veterans in our community.
Thank you for having me, sir.
And I want to first ask you, of course, your name, your branch, your length of service, and the rank you achieved while serving active duty.
So, Noah Freya is my name. I've been in the Arizona Army National Guard for 9 years now, coming up on 10 years. Currently serving, and I'm currently in the rank of captain.
That's great. Okay. You had to make a decision at some point in your life to join the military. Why did you want to serve?
My decision goes back to when I was a kid in second grade. I remember sitting at the breakfast table on September 11th, 2001, and my dad had the news on and just watching the chaos of that day and the tragedy that unfolded before our eyes. And even as a young kid, I felt super helpless in that moment. And at that moment, never wanted to feel that way again. So my entire growing up was dedicated to service, either through interest in being a first responder, a doctor, and eventually fell into the military and fell in the Army. And almost 15 years to the date, I was commissioned as a second lieutenant, and 17 years I was on a plane to Afghanistan.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, so you joined the military for very altruistic reasons, the desire to serve, particularly after December 11th. Did you get out of your service what you're hoping to get? What were your main takeaways from your service in the Army?
I think my main takeaways were I was hoping to get a sense of service, a purpose to my community. And what I really took away from it is something that I didn't expect to take away, but a lot of veterans will say that's also what they've taken away is it's the people I've served with.
Yeah.
I would go to bat for any of my soldiers that I've served with, any of my peers, my comrades, my superiors, and they're the ones that really make the memories worth having. From the people I served with in Afghanistan, Germany, down on the border, supporting the community down there, it's just always been about the people that I've served with and worked with.
That's really admirable. Now you still serve in the National Guard, so you're still serving our country in that capacity. But after you left your full-time duty with the Army, the people who serve often get back into civilian life and they want to continue to serve their community and country. What have you done to continue to serve your community after your active duty time in the Army?
So my 20s were really defined by being in the military, serving in whatever capacity, either nationally, going to Afghanistan, or serving the state during COVID, or down on the border, supporting law enforcement there. Once that time kind of wrapped up and I realized it was time to transition away from that, I found this opportunity to work in your office, and really that has been the first job I've had outside the military to give me that same sense of service, of meaning as I engage with and go to bat for a lot of the veterans that are out on the street that need someone to help them out or just have their voices heard.
I really appreciate that, and your leadership in my office has really made a very positive difference for the veterans that you work with. But then for me, it makes me a better policymaker, having you in the office with your experience and expertise to kind of guide me as we make decisions, as we have important votes dealing with the veterans community, making sure they have the services. But I would say there's still a disconnect. I think a lot of members of Congress, both Democrats and Republicans, want to do right by our veterans, and we want to vote the right way. But a lot of times the policies we approve don't actually really reach the veterans. It doesn't touch them the way we want them to touch them. So in your opinion, what's one thing that the country or Congress could do better to support our veterans?
To me, and this is just my perspective, still serving in the National Guard and looking ahead at my time out of the military, it's the transition out of the military that really needs some work done. There's stories all over where service members will have a week left before they're out of the military and they're still being forced to go to field trainings and not being able to focus entirely on getting their medical documents in order so
yeah.
they can get their benefits, or
Yeah,
not being able to focus on the things that are going to make them successful out of the military.
yeah,
And I think that transition program is one of the steps that we need to take in order to prevent more veterans from going into a system that we currently have right now, where it's just relying on what's out there.
yeah, that's a really good point. When I was mayor of Phoenix, we did a lot of employment fairs for veterans and trying to encourage local employers to make hiring veterans a priority. And many did, and we were really appreciative of that, but many were not successful. In part, it's because of false stereotypes about hiring veterans, particularly those with combat duty, that somehow if they have PTSD, they're somehow going to be not a positive person in their office, etc. Of course, we know differently with, PTSD, unfortunately, is so many of our veterans suffer with because they saw active duty or other things, and so it's part of their service. And with treatment, it's fine. And yet, if you don't hire veterans, you're losing out on that leadership experience, that teamwork that people know about, and so the skills that they brought. So there was a disconnect between the private sector and people coming out of the military.
Definitely, and I think I met with a veteran just this week who has had run into that issue where her doctor's appointments and her TBI were giving her issues with holding down employment, and it's just a matter of not understanding what drives veterans.
Yeah.
And for me personally, it's a matter of focus on mission and objective and being able to do that. And I've been fortunate enough to be put in positions on the civilian side that I've been able to have that direction and mission to accomplish there, and support as a veteran. So that's really what employers need to.
I think it's important that as we deal with our veterans, particularly those recently out of service, we don't lionize them, we don't demonize them. We just treat them as the people that they are, meet them where they at, appreciate their service, respect that service, but really meet them where they are at so that they can best get acclimated into the private sector and go on to have outstanding careers and lives outside the military.
Definitely.
All right, well, I appreciate your coming on, and this was your idea to do this, so I owe you a debt of gratitude. We have other veterans here that serve on the commission that are going to get on the video as well, but thanks for your service, and wishing you a happy Veterans Day in particular.
Thank you, sir.
All right.